All right, my name is Jeff Noble, and I'm making the video here to answer the questions that you're asking us to talk about tonight. So, first question is why quality constructive feedback in a quick manner for the students? And I think that's probably one of the most important parts of giving an assessment. For instance, I gave my calculus class a quiz today. And so right now the assessment is fresh on their brains. They remember what they knew, what they think they knew, what they maybe thought they got wrong. And so by having a plan tomorrow where we're going to address how they did, some ways to improve, what things we did right, what things we didn't do right, it really builds on that process. And so as a constructivist learner, I believe that we build that learning based on things we do well, things we don't do well, and then learning from those mistakes. And so we want those students to have exactly that. We don't want them to think of assessments as, what did I know? Did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? And only focus on the wrong answers. So that's why the feedback is so important. It's not just here's what you did right, or I'm sorry, it's not just here's the right answer. It's so what did you do right? So you had to find an integral. Did you remember that it was area under the curve? Did you remember that area under the curve is negative when it's below the x-axis, positive above? So those are the kind of feedbacks that will help them categorize that knowledge as working and effective or not working. And then the feedback also gives them ways to improve. So therefore, I want those students to not see today, it was a formative assessment. How can I improve it? So if we take another quiz or test in a week, what can I do better? And that's where the feedback is focused. All my feedback focuses not on you did a great job taking advantage of it or whatever. It's, hey, what can I do better next time I'm out there? Which is why it's so sad when you get to the end of the year and those final assessments are so closed-minded, because it's, well, here's the end. Next, we talk about what are some ways to vary. So in the math department, one of the things I love is we created a business math and a construction math that allow us to vary how we assess kids. It's not written test at all. It's, what can you do with it? Can you create projects? Can you create a job interview? Can you create a portfolio of stocks? So therefore, we assess students based on what can they do within those areas of study. Even in AP Calculus, I have calculator tests, no calculator tests. I have multiple choice. I have free response. Sometimes I assess them based on how well did they work in a group solving how many problems in an hour. And so I really try to vary it up. Other times I just have them work individually. And then finally, how can tech help with diverse populations? So, I have a Chromebook cabinet in my class, and we use it to do Khan Academy. We use it to go on Desmos. So students who don't have graphing calculators, they can go on Desmos, and they can work with the abilities of that software to graph lines, to solve calculus equations, etc. And then the Khan Academy is so useful for students who miss time maybe in class. I have students who maybe they had to take care of siblings, so they didn't go to school that day. So they can go on Khan Academy, they email me, they say, what did we learn today? They can go into a tutorial, they can watch video, and boom, they can learn everything they missed. And more importantly, if there's any holes, let's say they didn't learn everything they needed to at Algebra 2, they can go watch tutorial videos on that. So Mr. Noble talked about finding zeros. I don't really remember what that is. They can go and learn that concept. So I have found that providing them the technology and the means to watch videos and learn on their own has really helped them personalize their learning. Finally, I wanted to mention, I know I'm a little over time, but about the effective practices. I think it is so important we get away from giving zeros. It was mentioned in an article, again, somewhere else, that just zeros in a 100% grading scale as a math teacher, it's just horrific on their grade. It doesn't make sense, and it's not effective mathematically. I'm not a huge fan of standards-based grading because of how Bourbonnais has put it in place for my children, but it can be used effectively as a way of eliminating some of the penalties of percentages and how grades are given. Plus, for instance, maybe I'm being graded right now on eye contact in this video. Well, you see me looking down at my notes, and I needed those notes just to organize my thoughts. And so, we need standards saying, all right, so what am I being graded on? Am I being graded on answering these questions, or my eye contact, or my ability to keep the video in 2 to 3 minutes, which I'm sorry. And so those are the kind of things I think standards-based grading can help with as well.